Hey, what's up, guys? Let's talk childhood trauma and fatherhood. So, I grew up, I had a stepdad growing up. He was there for maybe from when I was 4 to all the way up to like 16 or something. So, he was good there a good chunk of my life. But he was kind of abusive, like abusive, like fist, you know, that abusive. And that affected me a lot growing up because at the same time, at at the peak of it, my dad stopped. My biological dad, like, just like kind of went like had just kind of like stepped back and was like, well, I mean, you're a man now, pretty much. I was like like maybe 14, 15, and just stopped talking to me. I mean, with the phone works both ways, but I was still a kid. I keep on saying, but you know I was still a kid, so it was like why. Well, anyways, okay, whatever. But my stepfather was pretty abusive. And I mean, I of course I forgave him. I forgave my father. I'm just speaking from my life. When I was younger, that I don't know if you haven't seen my last video. I basically talked about how I grew up very angry, and it affected my relationships, whether it was girlfriend, uh, you know, parents, sibling, whatever. It affected it in ways where I ran away from absolutely everything. Like I I ran from everything, and I was very, very angry, especially when my times in the Marine Corps. Very angry. So that manifested a lot, like manifested big time. I didn't think very highly of myself. In the Marine Corps, it was always on and popping with anybody and everybody, man. I didn't care. One time, like, this ain't funny, like, but one time I got so drunk, and there was this higher rank guy. I don't know why he was hanging out with us, us enlisted, junior Marine guys. But either way, a lot of y'all won't understand it. But I was so drunk that, but a lot of this was just deep down in me, and this is what I needed. He was talking mess from, like, a football field away, and I ran up to him, and I fought. We wrestled a little bit, but my friends pulled us away. His friends pulled him away, and that should have been it. But I was still flapping my gums. He was doing the same thing, and you know what? His friends were like, "All right, let's let him fight," and my friends were like, "All right, whatever, let him fight." Worst decision of my life. Or like, when I tell you, this man beat the brakes off of me. He beat the brakes off of me. I don't even remember. I don't even remember what happened. They told me that he was on top of me. Kind of reminds me of my childhood. My stepdad. I remember my stepdad being on top of me and raining blows on me. And that's crazy how it goes around. And that's what ended up humbling me with this guy, because he did the same thing to me. He was banging my head into the cement, and I really needed that. That was a wake-up call. That was I was like, you know what, let me stop. I stopped drinking. Like, I still drank, but it was very little since then. Um, you know, but I kind of isolated myself after that. Even though even before I joined the Marine Corps, I was really isolated. But I was still young. I was like 21, 22. So I didn't know what that meant. But now that I look back at it, in the Marine Corps, I really isolated myself. Like, the only time I went out was to, get food, or, I had friends. I had good friends in there that I would, do stuff with. But other than that, I would just do what I had to do and then go to my room. I mean, and we were working a good majority of the time, so I didn't really even notice. But now that I look back at it, I'm like, dang, I could have done a lot more stuff. I was in Okinawa, Japan. I could have traveled. I could have done all this stuff, but I didn't. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at is a lot of that trauma manifested, like, it kind of built up from when I was younger. My way of coping with stuff is staying quiet, just letting things happen, isolating myself, being angry at the world, and what else? Being angry at the world, sad all the time, but I never showed it. My sadness manifested in anger. It was in the music I listened to. It was in the shows I watched. It was in just all this stuff. But when I got out, it got worse. Like, I was still that angry but quiet guy. I needed to heal my inner child, is what it was. And that's in my last video. And I never did. I never reflected back on, what my father and my stepfather, what my biological father and my stepfather had done to me. Mentally, my biological dad mentally, my stepdad mentally and physically, and I let that affect me. And I didn't start being the man that I am now until I had my child. And I'm like, you know what? I'm never, ever, 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 ever gonna do that to her. Never. I wouldn't even think about doing that. But it still affected my relationships, even now. Like, I don't have a very good relationship with my people, and it affected my relationship with the mother to my child. And that's something I gotta live with. But my point is, y'all gotta stay in y'all kids' lives, man. Like, raise your kids, teach them good lessons through Jesus Christ, through God. They need God. I needed God, and I had him on and off in my life, in my head. Even though he was always there in my head, I never thought like, oh, let me just let me just pray. A simple prayer would have probably helped a lot of my situations. But that's what I'm saying, be the father that you wish you had growing up. If you didn't grow up with a good father figure, be the father that you wish you had. Because it will affect your children, and God will judge you on that. He will judge you on you know, because you're just making, you're just, luckily I'm breaking that cycle, I broke that cycle. But there's people out there who haven't found God and who are not going to break that cycle. Not at all. Not even close. They're probably going to keep it going times 10 because they're still angry. You know, they're still that angry child, that angry, abused child when they were, when they were younger. So it's just going to keep manifesting in their kids and then their kids. And that's how they just make, they're keeping the prison systems, full, it's just a cycle of just anger. And I'm glad I had my mom. I'm glad I had a lot of people in my life to kind of keep me in the straight and narrow. And the Marine Corps kind of pushed me to be a better man, and now through Jesus Christ I'm a better man, and I'm raising my daughter how I wanted to be raised. I'm loving her how I wanted to be loved. And she'll be loved. She is loved. But thanks, guys. Stay in your kids' lives, please.